Hello, guys. Welcome back to the podcast Real Telugu Talks with your hosts Jatin and Pavan. And today is a very special episode for both of us, considering the fact that we are going to be talking about one of the greatest directors in the Telugu film industry. In fact, in India right now, S. Rajamouli, Oscar-winning director, and the commercial cinema ka baap, Rajamouli. So yeah, this is a very special episode. We both watched Rajamouli movies growing up, and he's easily one of our favorite directors ever. And I just wanted to start off by asking you, Pawan, what is your favorite Rajamouli movie?
Oh my God, that's tough. See, here's the thing, cause for me, like usually with directors, right? It's like
Hmm.
you want to choose like the your favorite hero's movie that they worked with that director.
But
So like
yours
mine,
is
if I was
coming
never worked
up.
in, yes,
It's
right,
coming
right.
up.
It's coming. Globe trotting action adventure.
Yeah,
We'll get into that later. We'll get into that
we'll
later.
get into it later.
But no, like I mean, I would say like the nostalgia hits the most for me with Yamadonga actually.
I was gonna say Yamadonga too. I'm not even gonna
So
lie.
so like
Yeah.
that one, like the nostalgia hits the most for me. Like I
Hmm.
remember like I actually rewatched it like maybe a year ago,
Hmm.
and like it had been like so long. Like I
Yeah.
can't like I don't even remember how old I was when I watched the movie for the first
Hmm.
time. So like when I went and rewatched it, I was like, "Oh, that's from this movie." Like it
Yeah.
was like one of those.
Hmm.
And then I was like, "Oh, okay, okay." And so Yamadonga, I would say the nostalgia hits the most.
Hmm.
But Iga's also up there actually,
Yeah.
just because I like the concept of Iga a lot.
Hmm.
And then Kitcha Sudeep was so good in
So
that
good.
movie,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so yeah, I would say like those two
Okay.
for sure.
But since you already mentioned Yamadonga, for me also, Yamadonga is also one of my favorite Rajamouli movies because, first of all, as an NTR fan, seeing him like that,
Right,
like, because up till then, everyone has just been trolling NTR for his looks and his
right, right.
body and everything. So, like, the first shot we get of NTR in that movie, it's a tiger transforming into NTR,
Yera
just
Pule.
Yera Puli, just jumping out, and then you got that BGM in the background, and then he's like, "What about now, huh?"
Yeah, yeah.
Watch out his eyes of fire that's gonna break you down.
Like that whole intro fight scene, he's just running, jumping through things, and there's this one scene where he's like running and he jumps through a swing like that, and the whole background BGM is like,
Yeah,
watch me,"
yeah,
and I
yes,
was like,
yes.
this like an answer to every single person that did it. In fact, that swing scene when I was a kid, I used to jump through the swings in like our school playground and be like, yes, Nene NTR, I am NTR. I would literally run up, jump through, and be like, ah, yeah, dick.
Nene Pule.
Nene.
Uh, no, I
So,
think the even like not even just like his body. I know like
mhm,
that has been like most people will go back and troll him for like his
mhm,
body pre Yamadonga, but
yeah.
even like the long hair,
The
like
long hair
the long
is
hair and
one of
everything.
his
Like
best looks in his career.
I honestly think that's probably my favorite look.
Like people say Nanaku Premato and all, but like I
Right,
think Rajamouli nailed it because you have the tone like skinny NTR for the first time,
right.
and they nailed it, especially in pre-interval where he becomes Yama.
Yeah,
That whole like top to bottom, the getup and everything, it suits NTR perfectly. Like if not for NTR, in my personal opinion, if not for NTR, movie poyedi. It would have been a
yeah.
flop. He saved that, and in fact, so many people have said on multiple occasions that NTR was the reason that movie became such a big hit. So, I just
I think
yeah.
that's one of those movies where like it truly like fits only him.
Mhm.
I can't really imagine that many other people like
Yeah.
doing matching the capacity that he managed to fill in that role, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I think that role was just perfectly suited for him as well.
And even
The look and
yeah.
especially everything um post interval.
Mhm.
It was completely NTR. It was
And especially we have Mohan Babu on the other side, who was like the perfect Yama character.
right.
Like so you get to see like the fun sort of like that him versus him in both of them, and it was just fun to watch, and it still is. And then the dialogue battle at the interval sequence, Yama, Yemantivi, Yemantivi, that's just iconic.
Right.
Like, especially taking the Danavira Surakarna dialogue and then redoing it for this movie, it was just perfect in every shape, where, form. So,
I
and
think
yeah.
one thing that like diverting away from just NTR and Mohan Babu
Mm-hmm.
in that movie, I think that one of my favorite things, the more like pattern wise, I think with
Mm-hmm.
Rajamouli movies is like the way he blends genres, right? And so
Yeah.
the like we talk about commercial movies in general,
Mm-hmm.
and you cover so many different types of
Mm-hmm.
genres. That's what makes them tough. That's what makes them creative.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes me like those type of movies. And so like especially even Priyamani's character in that
Yeah.
movie, like the I don't know what it is.
Innocence.
Maybe
It's the
it's like the
innocence, I
nostalgia.
feel
Yes,
like.
the innocence and
Mm-hmm.
like the whole like love element of it, or like
Mm-hmm.
where he kind of starts feeling bad for her
Mm-hmm.
after seeing her situation and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like it actually like hits the spot.
It
I don't know if
does,
it's
yeah.
like it's not in abundance either, because it's not a
Mm-hmm.
love movie obviously,
No.
but there is enough of a touch to the point
Mm-hmm.
where like it is emotional and it
Mm-hmm.
actually hits the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And if you notice, like we'll talk about this more throughout the other movies as well,
Mm-hmm.
but even though her character was pretty minimal in terms of
Yeah.
maybe like screen time,
But the impact it
right,
created.
right. And so that's like the main thing I feel like that's missing in commercial genres
Mm-hmm.
now. It's like if you have a character and they have minimum screen time, you still have to write an impactful
Yeah.
character for them. Like
Yep.
that is possible. Like you
Mm-hmm.
can easily do that. And like Rajamouli does that to a T. I feel like
Exactly. Yeah.
Rajamouli is definitely one of those people that I've never seen unnecessary characters in a movie. Every single one of his characters is very impactful
Mm-hmm.
and necessary for the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, the addition, the sorry, adding on to the fact, going back to Yamadonga, another big plus for that movie was the music,
Oh, by
without a
far.
doubt. Like the songs to this day are in repeats on my playlist, from Nuvu Muttukunte, Yangu Yama, Nachore Nachore, and of course the step in Nachore Nachore, the
Right.
sliding thing.
Right.
The amount of times I've tried to recreate it and then just hurt myself.
బే ఏం ఈ పనుల్లో కనిపించలేదు పైగా ఫిజికల్ గానీ మెంటల్ గానీ స్ట్రెయిన్
But no, yeah, so like that all came together, and it's just one of the perfect films that came out.
Right.
And it was very different because I feel like after Yamadonga came out, it kind of revived that whole like Yama sort of genre where you have heroes going to Yamalokam and then like facing off against Yama. Because you had,
Right.
after that, you had Daruvu with Ravi Teja, and then you had a one Alar Naresh movie, Yamudiki Mogadu.
Right.
So I feel like that movie was very impactful in kind of restarting that genre as well. But again, it was just amazing, like amazing in all ways.
If you had to like pick, I mean, maybe this is difficult, but like if you had to
Yeah.
pick one scene from that movie,
Uh-huh.
what would you say? Like, or even like a couple, if you can't pick one, what would you
Okay.
say?
So for me, I would say number one that comes to mind is the scene in which after NTR goes to Yamalokam and he becomes Yama.
Okay.
Ala top to bottom, the nagalu, the dress,
Yes, yes,
the
yes.
gada and everything, నడుచుకుంటూ వచ్చి he laughs.
Right.
ఒక proudness తో ఒక
Yeah.
నవ్వుతాడు. And దాని వెంటనే you have the dialogue war between Mohan Babu and NTR.
Yeah.
That whole interval block is just peak cinema. And అది నాకు ఎంత నచ్చిందంటే ఆ డైలాగ్ ఉంది కదా యమా ఏమంటివి ఏమంటివి.
Yeah, yeah.
I learned that dialogue maybe in like 2016.
Yeah.
I still remember it today.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so అంతలా ఎక్కేసింది నాకు.
I think I don't know if it's the BGMs. I think most scenes that I like, I think the more I realize it, it's like BGM based, right? It's
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, I really like that dialogue. No, bro, you only like the BGM. You're just listening to the music, so you liked it.
Yeah.
So I like definitely the entry scene,
Yeah.
like right before the fight,
Mm-hmm.
like that scene, and then the one right before he has the interaction with Mohan Babu's character, and then jumps off to go back to Earth.
Oh, yeah, he's like
Yes, and then yes,
Yeah,
that scene is so good.
Mhm.
Like that scene is actually by far my favorite. I think definitely the one where he goes back, jumps off and goes back.
Yeah,
That's by far my favorite. It's
yeah,
so good. So good
it's
every
good.
time.
But coming off of that topic, one thing I want to ask is, in your opinion, what makes Rajamouli different from other commercial directors? Because everyone's a commercial director nowadays, but only Rajamouli has that 100% success rate, whereas others failed.
Right.
So, what is it to you that's different? You know?
I would say one thing is, like I said, so he actually blends the genre. Like no genre I ever feel is left out.
Mm-hmm.
And so like in term, like there's never a time where like I'll watch a Rajamouli movie and be like, oh, the songs fell short,
Mm-hmm.
or like the love element fell short,
Mm-hmm.
or like the actor's acting fell short. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say in that sense, like there is the right limit of every single blend of the genre. And then I would say even just like actors, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that he drags the 100% out of it, even
Yep.
if they have like 110%. Like
Yeah.
we saw the RRR documentary,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Charan and Tarak were
Mm-hmm.
just like so. I think that's definitely the one thing for all the fans
Mm-hmm.
of the hero,
Mm-hmm.
or just TFI in general. It's just you watch that movie and
Mm-hmm.
you'll never feel like the actor's acting ability fell short
Yeah.
ever.
So for me though, I want to go off of what you said, right? This man knows how to make the perfect commercial movie.
Right.
Honestly, and he said this in, I think it was his documentary, the SS Rajamouli documentary, where he says commercial movies like Jidipop Upma, where it's like the Upma itself is like the story, the characters, and the emotions,
Uh,
and the Jidipopulu are like the highs, the action sequences, the elevations, and whatnot. If you have only Jidipopulu, there's no story and people won't like it. It's a good
right.
theater movie.
Right.
But like when you walk out, you're like, there's no story. What's the point of this? But if it's only Upma, you have to make it so that it becomes a classic, like Manam or Sita Mama Kitla Sirmale Chettu.
Right.
There's no like action scenes or high moments, but
Right.
it's fun.
Right.
But if you're trying to make a commercial movie that has Jeedipopulu, but you burn them or something,
Right. Right.
it's not gonna work out. So this man knows how to perfectly bring them together. And on top of that, every scene he makes, like on almost every single one of his movies, the interval sequence as well is always the one of the peak of the films.
Right.
Like when you look at Vikram Arkuru, it's the scene when Vikram Rathod comes. That interval, the dialogue war interval, the Baahubali 1 and 2, both the intervals. And then the RRR whole 20-minute climax, starting from Junior NTR jumping out of the truck with all the
Yes.
animals
Yes.
to Ramcharan coming and both of them facing off. All of his intervals are just such peak writing. And it's always in an emotional high. Like the emotions are at such a high that you feel so invested already into the characters. And I feel
Right.
like only Rajamouli can do something where within just the first half of the movie you're there. You're connected immediately to the characters.
Right. I think the big thing too is like high scenes don't provide rewatchability at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I think nailing the details and um, the main just combining the story together so that it flows
Mm-hmm.
is because every single time you look at like a specific scene, you look for something new. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so Rajmouli is the king of detailing.
Yeah.
And so every single time you look at a specific scene, you'll be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you notice something new every single
Mm-hmm.
time. And so I think for a commercial movie, even because commercial movies are meant to be fun in
Yeah.
a sense as well. And so like even for a movie like that to have that much meaning,
Mm-hmm.
it's an art. It's definitely an art.
And again, it's because of the fact that he writes the emotion of the story very well.
Right.
And he said this before, I don't know if it was for an interview or one of his documentaries. He said that the language may not be universal, but the emotion is universal. Whether you go from Telangana or Andhra to Delhi or to Hollywood, human emotion is the same. So if you crack the human emotion, then you've cracked the story. You've cracked a hit film.
Right.
So I think that is what he has versus a lot of other directors that are missing. He's cracked emotion.
Even if you go back, I think
Mm-hmm.
one thing we didn't cover is with Yamadonga too, the whole movie is comedy. Like if you think about
Yeah.
it, because the whole sequence with Mohan Babu is all back and forth comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the even the scene before when he was on Earth,
Mm-hmm.
the whole sequence there is comedy. So like the comedy never fell short, especially
Mm-hmm.
with like the earlier movies. You can
Mm-hmm.
maybe have an argument for like the recent movies, like
Mm-hmm.
especially like RRR was not that kind of film. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? That was pure action,
Yeah.
pure. I mean, that was the biggest scale we've ever seen Rajamouli
Yeah.
on. So that's a different type of film. But if
Mm-hmm.
you look at the older movies, like the
Mm-hmm.
comedy never falls short.
Yeah.
So that's
So,
also one thing.
mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree with that. So I want to say that's a good stopping point for this part, and I just want to shift over to movies. And so we already talked about Yamadonga, but I want to mention some of his earlier films. I know you've watched them, but you don't remember much. But I just want to mention his films like Simhadri, Sai, and Chhatrapati, because all three of those are completely different films.
Right.
Sim Simhadri is just, again, I've mentioned this in the last episode, but that's one of my all-time favorite movies. It's such a high. But then Sai is a movie that technically should not work on paper, because if you think about it, it's students and gundas fighting on rugby for their college. No other person other than Rajamouli can make that subject work, where
Right.
the entire last act is just a rugby match between students and gundas.
Right.
But so yeah, I wanted to mention that, and then also Chhatrapati is the first time we see like a full-on action mode Prabhas.
I think even the revenge element for sure, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So the full on like revenge
Like
story, revenge classic. I would say that he nails that
revenge, I wouldn't in Chhatrapati no, but like I think in other movies
for sure.
probably. In Chhatrapati, the main revenge aspect would be the fact that his brother, like his stepbrother, is mad at him as mad at Prabhas for like being like the favorite son or something. And then that emotion, it just hits so hard.
Right.
Especially after you see all the struggles that Prabhas has gone through and how he became Chhatrapati. That movie is just in a league of its own because of just you have the peak Prabhas acting, and then especially all the dynamics between the characters and all. It's just really well written in Chhatrapati, in my opinion. But now I know this is one of your favorite movies, Vikramarkadu. So I want you to start off and telling me like what's your experiences with Vikramarkadu?
Okay, wait. I think the comedy scenes in this movie, like some of them, bro, like the meme material that comes out of this movie, bro. Like the one rail when they're at the train station with Brahmanandam's character.
Yeah,
And then you see the Brahmanandam and Ravi Teja just laughing
it's like
behind
1 minute,
the
please,
pillar, bro.
and
It's so funny.
yeah,
And then there's like the part
this
where
the scene where he's beating up all the
yes,
women.
yes. That scene is so funny. Like the fact that Rajamouli even came up with that, and then like all of them were okay with it. They just went through with it. That was funny.
And think in like an interview or something, Ravi Teja was like, when we were shooting that scene,
Right.
we didn't hear cut, and it was
So he
because
just kept going.
yeah, they just kept going, and that was because Rajamouli was fell on the floor and he was just laughing. Apparently, యూనిట్ మొత్తం నవ్వుకుంటున్నారంట ఆ సీన్ జరుగుతున్నప్పుడు. So it's like that comedy in that film is just pure Ravi Teja only. That especially that first half.
Right, right.
First half anta I feel like Rajamouli was like, నువ్వు కానీ నీకు వచ్చింది నువ్వు చెయ్యి, నీకు ఏది అనిపిస్తే నువ్వు చెయ్యి, ఇది సిచ్యువేషన్, జస్ట్ డూ వాట్ ఎవర్ యూ వాంట్. కానీ ఎప్పుడైతే విక్రమ్ రాథోడ్ క్యారెక్టర్ వచ్చాడో రాజు వాజ్ లైక్, నేనున్నాను, లెట్
ఇది కూడా
మీ
కవర్
టేక్,
చేద్దాం. ఇది కూడా కవర్ చేద్దాం.
లెట్ మీ హ్యాండిల్ దిస్ పార్ట్ అని అక్కడి నుంచి రాజమౌళి ఎక్కి, అండ్ రవితేజ అక్కడి నుంచి హీ స్టార్టెడ్ గోయింగ్ 100%. Because up till then, he's done only what he's done before, the comedy aspect or whatever. కానీ ఎప్పుడైతే విక్రమ్ రాథోడ్ క్యారెక్టర్ వచ్చిందో that's something new that he's never done before. So both of them came together and was like, let's do this.
నాకు నిజంగా చెప్తున్నాను, నాకు టిఐ5లో ఒక పర్సన్ కాప్ రోల్,
Yeah.
పోలీస్ రోల్ చేయాలంటే రవితేజ
Yeah.
అంతే. లైక్ ఇంకా నాకు లైక్ మేబీ అదర్ పీపుల్ గురించి ఆలోచించచ్చేమో కానీ నాకు ఫస్ట్ పర్సన్ గుర్తొచ్చేది రవితేజ అని.
Yeah.
బై
He
ఫార్
just works. He just works.
he's the only person I think that actually nails the aspect. Like I know Ramcharan did it in RRR, but I don't know. Like maybe it's again like a nostalgia thing for me. If I had to choose one, it would always be Ravi Teja for a cop character. Every single time.
I think almost every single one of his movies that he's been a police officer in, it's been a blockbuster.
Right.
Like I think Vikramarkudu, I think Power, Crack. I don't know if he's done others, but like from what I remember, Jason Prati cinema hit అయింది.
అంతే.
And then especially and Vikram Singh Rathod will be one of the most iconic characters ever in Telugu film history.
Yes.
And especially the scene between him and Prakash Raj in the training ground.
Yes.
చావు నా ఎదురుగున్నప్పుడు నా మూతి మీద చిరునవ్వు ఉండాలి, నా చేయి నా మీసం మీద ఉండాలి.
నాది ఒక్కటే కోరిక సార్, చావు నా ఎదురుగా ఉన్నప్పుడు నా కళ్ళలో బెరుకుండకూడదు, నా మూతి మీద చిరునవ్వు ఉండాలి, నా చేయి నా మీసం మీద ఉండాలి సార్.
అసలు అది అన్నప్పుడు ఏయ్ కమ్ ఆన్ మ్యాన్ అన్నా ఏయ్. So that is just Rajamouli and Raviteja both just going off in that
అంటే
scene.
బీజిఎం గురించి కూడా ఆలోచించాలి.
Oh,
ఎందుకంటే
Keeravani was such
అసలు
a plus.
బీజిఎం
Oh my God. Yeah.
వచ్చే హై
I've seen it
ఎన్నిసార్లు
so many
చూసినా,
times.
ఎన్నిసార్లు
Goosebumps.
చూసినా
Goosebumps till now.
గూస్ ఎవ్రీ
Yeah.
సింగిల్ టైం అంతే. The BGM in that it makes it so much better. It amplifies that scene so much.
Yeah, it's just. I'm telling you, Keeravani and Rajamouli, we can talk about this later in detail, but Keeravani and Rajamouli, they're just perfect.
అంతే.
They understand each other perfectly, and the fact that, I mean, Oscar kottaru, inkem kavali.
ఇంకా దానికి మించి ఒక రికగ్నిషన్ కానీ
Yeah,
it's that combination will always be good. They understand each other so perfectly. I think that's the main thing. You actually look at like movies that are doing well, even in like recent years. It's like you look director and music director are like in completely in a line with
Yeah.
BGMs and everything. Those are the movies that are doing well because that's how the high scenes are created. Really,
yeah.
if you don't have a good BGM, you're not having a good high scene whatsoever. It's just impossible. I think.
Like Anirudh and Nelson, like
Oh,
they are cooking, and then of course Boy Party and Taman.
Oh, do we even need to talk about Rajini, bro? Like every single one of Rajini's like high scenes or like mass
bro.
dialogues, you go back and look.
Anirudh.
It's literally just.
ఒకప్పుడు once upon a time it was Rahman, A.R. Rahman. Now
yes.
it's just Anirudh.
Yes, I would agree.
I
I think for action, definitely even Taman.
Taman, yeah.
Taman nails the action BGMs.
But I miss DSP, bro. Like the vintage DSP, like back in like the late 2000s, early 2010s, he used to go crazy for mass.
Yeah.
Even now, the Pushpa 2 album was really good, like music wise.
Even Pushpa 2, the one BGM I liked from that movie was the one at the very end.
The Rappa Rappa fight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that BGM is so good. And even before that, ఇది గవర్నమెంట్ రూల్ కాదు, ఇది పుష్ప రూల్, గన్ ఇలా ఫైర్ చేస్తాడు. ఆ బీజిఎం వచ్చి హై అసలు సెట్ అవుద్ది మొత్తం సీన్.
Oh yeah, DSP and Sukku is another combo that we completely missed.
Yes.
But yeah, DSP and Sukku.
Yes. But I think definitely like the music director have to be in combination if you want high scenes. That's how the greatest theater scenes are created. It's those two in synergy.
But no, we're getting off topic here. But going back to Vikramarkudu, again, that movie is just. I feel like it's in all of the films that Rajamouli has done. I feel like Vikramarkudu is the only movie in which the hero actually dominated the director. We see this so many times because Raviteja just got so into the character of Vikram Singh Rathore that it's just he just went all out, and there really isn't much more to say. But other than the fact that he just that was one of the best films, and they've tried remaking it in
Oh,
so
I was
many
just about to say
languages,
that.
right?
Yes.
Like I think they did.
I know Kicha Sudeep did it.
Kicha Sudeep did it, yeah.
I think Karthi did it in
Karthi
Tamil,
did it
right?
in Tamil with Siva, and
Akshay
then
Kumar did it
Akshay
in Hindi,
Kumar.
right?
Yeah.
So like,
Of all of those, from at least the clips and stuff, I haven't seen the full movies because after watching Vikramakuru, there's no way I'm gonna watch the other movies and be like,
Right.
I cannot. But I think out of all those, I think Karthi came the closest to matching Raviteja's energy and matching his performance. But still, even to this, there's nothing like there's no way that anyone else has come close to what Raviteja has done in
I
that
think
movie.
the unique thing with the Ravi Teja too,
Mm-hmm.
like the ability to do comedy,
Mm-hmm.
like extreme comedy.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at any hero, if you say comedy, it's Ravi Teja
Yeah.
every single time.
Mm-hmm.
I think like out of the main like quote unquote star heroes,
Mm-hmm.
you would say Ravi Teja every time.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, nailing intensity
Mm-hmm.
in that same movie
Mm-hmm.
is he's the only one I think that has that broad of a range. It's
Because
actually so difficult to get that broad of a range.
Attali Satyababu is a character that's just full comedy, and then Vikram Singh Rathod is just full action. And then in the second half, after Vikram Singh Rathod dies, you get the mix of that comedy and action, in which in the towards the end of the film, you see the intensity that Vikram Singh Rathod has, and you see the comedy aspect of Attali Satyababu as well. And it was just a perfect blend. And again, other actors have tried and they might have been success. I'm pretty sure they were all hits in their respective languages,
Right.
but just you can just they just could not match whatever Raviteja did in Vikramarkudu.
I think again, it's just coming back to the same thing. They can only nail one of the genres. I think they can, but nailing both to the extreme level that Ravi Teja did, I think is very. It's not. It's. I just don't. It's difficult. It's
Yeah.
too difficult.
Yeah. But right now, I just want to stop for a bit and say, for those of you guys that are watching till now, I really appreciate it. But this episode is going to be a long one. That's why we've decided to split it up into parts. Um, Second part will be coming out soon, and we'll be covering more of Rajamouli's movies and more of our thoughts on them from then on. But again, thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and please share the video. We're trying to get them views. So I really appreciate it. So thank you all for watching, and have a good day.